You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
Okay, I got a sports topic here we need to cover, guys. And I saw this on a sports story right here. And if you watch Black and White Sports, we have been covering a lot of biological men going over into women's sports and dominating. We talked about the Leah Thomases of the world. We talked about, what was the Olympian's name? Laurel Hubbard. Biological males going over there and competing against women, taking a spot away against women. Riley Gaines has been pretty vocal about how she feels about this. Riley Gaines is completely against biological males going over into women's sports and dominating them because she actually experienced, having to compete against a biological male. And she actually tied this person, Leah Thomas, and they refused to give her the trophy because they said, quote, Leah needs it for a photo op. Yeah, they're just spitting all over biological women. But biological women are starting to speak up now, more and more. It's not just Riley Gaines and a few others. Of course, you still got crazy people out there like Megan Rapinoe, Brittany Griner out there that are saying, oh, no, you can't do that. Go ahead, let the biological men come in the women's sports. They're signing their own athletic death warrant by doing that. Well, we now have a female athlete actually speaking out against this stuff. Here we go on Breitbart. Start taking a knee. Former U.S. Olympian calls for protests against UCI's trans cyclist policy. And the reason why she's bringing this up is because this person right here, this is a biological male right there, just won a race, I believe last week, cycling race. Now, cycling, man, that is one tough sport. Endurance sports like that, man, I couldn't do it. Like, I would never be a marathon runner. Also, like doing Tour de France kind of stuff. That ain't for me, man. I mean, you got to be a world-class athlete to do that. Now, I have a stationary bike here in my house. Sometimes I actually get on it. It's great exercise, great workout. But let's read this, guys. A former 3-time U.S. Olympian is calling on cyclists to take a knee at the start line in protest of the world's cycling governing body's decision to allow trans cyclists to compete in the female category. Inga Thompson, a road cyclist for Team USA, took to Twitter Sunday after a week filled with controversy surrounding trans cyclist Austin Killips. And this is Austin Killips right there, a biological male. And Austin Killips actually won the Tour of the Gila. That was against females. I believe that was in New Mexico, if I'm not mistaken. But this is what Inga Thompson had to say. Quote, it is time for women cyclists to start protesting UCI cycling policy. Thompson tweeted, start taking a knee at the starting lines. Team managers need to speak up and protect their riders. Hold signs at every race. Save women's sports. Now, this seems like Colin Kaepernick here, if you ask me. Remember, Colin Kaepernick was actually in the NFL. He was actually taking a knee for the false lie that police are just killing black people at will. It seems very, very similar to this. However, we actually know that there are quite a few biological males and going over into women's sports, and they are winning. They're taking spots away from women. This is a real threat. So, and I said something similar, when Leah Thomas was actually still swimming at UPenn. I said that the women, they need to stand on their line right there. And when the gun gets shot and they're supposed to jump in the pool, don't jump in the pool. Stand there in protest. Do not compete against a biological male. Don't do it. That's me. That's what I would have done. I said that. I've been pretty vocal on that. Now you actually have another female athlete here kind of echoing the same thing. Now she said to take a knee. Take a knee. Do it. UCI, or the Union Cyclist Internationale, is the world governing body for cycling. It was UCI that decided to allow males to compete against females, but then seemed to backpedal somewhat following severe backlash on social media from legendary female athletes such as Martina Navratilova, the all-time great tennis player. She was great. Now, she's a part of the LGBT community, but she's a lesbian, and she has been pretty vocal that biological men should not be in women's sports. She has made that clear, not once, not twice, probably like 3, 4, 5 times now. She has made it really, really clear. But I said it, guys, that the women, they need to be united on this. They need to be completely united on this. And the thing is, I don't believe that women are completely united on this. But you're starting to see more women come out and say, no, this must stop. This must stop. Look here, quote, the UCI's objective. Now, this is from UCI here. The UCI's objective remains the same: to take into consideration, in the context of the evolution of our society, the desire of transgender athletes to practice cycling, the UCI said. Quote, the UCI also hears the voices of female athletes and their concerns about an equal playing field for competitors and will take into account all elements, including the evolution of scientific knowledge. They're not taking into consideration of female voices. They're just not. Because if that was the case, you would have not allowed Austin Phillips to actually race. You wouldn't have done that. And why is it that we're only seeing biological men going into women's sports, but you're not really seeing biological women going into men's sports? You're not really seeing that happen. It's not really happening. But there is quite a few men going into women's sports. That is completely unfair, man. That is completely unfair. Phillips is the first trans female to win a UCI-sanctioned stage race. If Thompson, an actual female and winner of 3 silver medals at the UCI Road World Championships, has her way, Phillips will be the last trans rider to win a UCI event. You know what, guys? They can do this too. Do this. If you want trans people to compete, why don't you just make a trans category? You know, that'd be fair for everybody right there. Have a trans category. Have trans men race against trans men. Trans women race against trans women. I believe that would be fair. But the thing is, it'll never happen. Because I believe that the activists out there, they would say, oh, that's discriminating. You're discriminating against trans women. They're going to say trans women are women when they're biological men. So I don't think that you're actually going to see categories like that. But I'm glad that you're starting to see more women speak out on this whole thing.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.